strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Welcome, Twitterlands fans. We have some big news coming out of the town hall today. We have more details about the SPS staking requirements that are going to be replacing power, replacing CP, and this has the Twitterlands community all riled up. If there are a lot of people that are absolutely not happy about this, and I think the biggest reason they are not happy about it is that they don't understand the way this works, because there is a table that has gone around. I posted it myself. It was shared in the town hall, and people are not understanding what that table actually means. I didn't understand what it meant when I first saw it until I went back and listened to the town hall. I was a little bit behind there. So we're gonna break things down. I'm gonna help everybody understand what it is, what it isn't, and hopefully this will make a lot more sense once we get through this video here. So what we're talking about is we've seen this on the roadmap. This is the roadmap that we've all been looking forward to. We've known that this was coming soon. We've known that SPS staking was going to play a huge role in rewards since the white paper first released 2 years ago. But up here in the second section, first one in the second section here where it says ranked battles, replace CP requirements with SPS staking. That is what we are talking about here. And then this chart right here is what they posted in the town hall, and this is what got people freaking out, because we see some huge numbers, much bigger numbers than most people, than myself included, anticipated. And like we see, I'm a Champion 1 player. It says I need 413,000 staked SPS as a requirement. And I hate that we're using that word, requirement, because there's a bunch of misunderstandings here. The first one is that these are not requirements. They are, so this is replacing CP, right? So a lot of people thought SPS, the staked SPS was going to be a gate, myself included. When they were talking about this, shows over here, like replace CP requirements with SPS staking. I thought that was going to be, you need X amount of SPS stake to get in the league, because that's what we see if we come over here to CP right here. That's this 250,000 here, that's in Modern Champ 3. That means you must have that much power in order to get into that league, no exceptions. You don't have that much power, you can't even advance to the league. You advance and you lose that power, you fall back down. You have to have power to advance to the league. That is not how this staked SPS works. It's not how it works. This table right here is showing the amount of staked SPS you need in order to get the same number of R shares that you are currently getting. And it is not actually based on league. It's actually based on rating. This league here is just showing these as like key rating points. It's actually more of a chart. Somebody went and kind of created a little chart looking thing here that shows as you increase your rating, these are all the points that they outlined. But it's not actually based on league at all. It's how much SPS, staked SPS you need in order to get the same amount of R shares that you are currently getting. There is a base level of rewards that you will get at your rating, even if you have 0 staked SPS. You do not need a single staked SPS in order to advance to your leagues, in order to get rewards. You're just not gonna get near the rewards you are currently getting if you have no staked SPS. So it is not a requirement. You're going to want it, but it's not actually a requirement in order to get to your league. And I mean, obviously that's very, very important. But one other thing I want to talk about is a lot of the complaints with this is that this is going to make it hard for new players. This is complicated for new players to understand. They gotta go to Bronze 2. They have to go get 40 staked SPS, okay, or rent that. Now, because keep in mind, you don't have to own this. You're going to be able to rent it. They have set it up so you can now go delegate somebody SPS. This is what that is being set up for. That was something that a lot of people, maybe for tournaments, was the only thing it really made sense for, but that was a feature they added in. That was setting up for this, because before this gets here, there's going to be a rental market set up, whether it's in-game or on Peak Monsters or someplace. They're going to make sure that you can go rent SPS, okay? So you don't have to actually go buy this. You can rent SPS and have somebody else delegate it to you. So right now, if a new player is playing the game, they need to go, or anybody's playing the game, but particularly for new players, they learn that if they need to get up to a certain league, they need a certain amount of CP, of power. That's what the system is replacing. A lot of people just go rent that power. So that's nothing new. In order to go get into a league, you have to go rent. And then was power, now it's going to be SPS. Renting power or acquiring power was something that was extremely confusing for new players, okay? Extremely confusing. I worked as a community manager for a while. That was one of the things, getting players in the game, that was frequently a struggle. A lot of those who have been in the game a while kind of take it for granted, but power is not really all that straightforward, because different rarity of cards, different editions of cards, promo cards have different rarity. There's so many different cards that have different amounts of power. And understanding how to acquire, yeah, a player might understand, okay, I need 15,000 power to get my league, but how do I go get 15,000 power? You can't, well, you kind of can on peak monsters, but then you've got to learn to go to a whole new third-party site, and that's intimidating, going off to a third-party site and learning how to use that. You can't just go in game and say, okay, I want to rent 15,000 power, and you rent 15,000 power, or whatever the power is you need, okay? So that was kind of a more confusing aspect. It's going to be much more straightforward. First off, understanding why. Okay, you need to rent SPS or acquire SPS in order to be able to earn SPS. That's something that I think makes more sense for a lot of people. And okay, if I want to rent 1,000 SPS, then I just go to the market and rent 1,000 SPS. I'm not trying to find the best combination or the cheapest combination of cards in order to find this power. So that was a very confusing thing for players. So while yes, I can see this being a barrier of itself, I think this is a much simpler barrier to overcome than CP was. Okay, so I do not think this, I think overall this is a net positive in terms of a new player barrier. And again, with power, you had to have it to get to that league. Players would bump up against it, okay, I must now, at this very moment, go find out how this power thing works if I want to get into the next league. Now it's not a requirement. You can move up to the next league. You can move up to silver, move up to gold, play the game, and then later on figure out, okay, now I'm in the league that I've kind of figured out I'm going to play at. Now how can I increase my rewards by going and getting this staked SPS? Okay, you don't have to do it at any specific moment. You can ease yourself into the game. It's because it's not a hard requirement. I think it makes that a little simpler. So that is a huge thing, that it is not a hard, and I've said it several times, but I want to repeat it over and over again. It is not a hard requirement to have any amount of CP in order to, or any amount of, well, CP is true now, but any amount of SPS to get into your league. So no set requirement. You're going to be able to rent it. People are looking at the cost and, oh no, now I can't play in Diamond unless I spend X $1,000. Not the case. You can go rent it just like with cards. It's probably going to be very, very cheap to go rent SPS. If it's not, then that's going to drive up the price of SPS, as people are like, okay, well now I want to go get this SPS so I can rent it out to people. And as you drive up the price of SPS, that is good for the game in so many different ways. I don't think I have to explain to people how a rising SPS price is good for the game. And I have made several videos, like again, we have known that this type of thing is coming. It's coming in a different way than we expected, but the overall concept is the same. Stake SPS in order to be able to gain your rewards, right? We've known this is coming. And I've done videos that I said I personally right now have been selling all of the SPS that I get. I keep enough to enter tournaments, but I've been selling any SPS over that because I've expected SPS to decline in value because there has been no utility. SPS was released 2 years ago, and there is still no utility, like actual gameplay utility. There's some staking rewards, there's some other things you can do with SPS. There's obviously governance that's come, but as far as a player wanting to have SPS to play the game, there's been no reason to have it. As somebody who wants to play, I've sold off the SPS so I could buy the cards because I care more about expanding my collection so I can play than I do about SPS. That's going to stop. And I've said that SPS is going to bleed until it has utility. Back last year, whatever, we thought this was coming a lot sooner. And I remember at one point I was buying SPS anticipating this. And I was like, once SPS utility comes, it's gonna spike and all that. And then it never came. It's almost here, finally. So I'm at least going to stop selling my SPS. We'll see if I go out and start buying it or what the case is. But this is absolutely awesome that we now have game SPS utility for gameplay. Finally, and that is so huge for the economy, so huge for the game. And I want to talk about this chart a little more. Again, here is the original chart. I'm sorry I don't have any battles or anything going back in the background. I wanted to make sure I got this video out because I feel like this information is very, very important. And I don't have a lot of time tonight, unfortunately, to spice up the video. So sorry, it's more of like a little podcast here with crap in the background. But anyways, this chart here, we said this is the amount of SPS you need to get your same R shares, okay? And I want to really clarify what that means because I feel like this wasn't elaborated on in the town hall. Maybe they kind of took for granted what this means, but I think a lot of people don't understand this. So R shares, you get the same R shares, that would be you would get the same rewards as in hard packs, merits, soulbound reward cards, potions. All of those are linear. The more R shares you get, the more a lot of its chances at getting them, but the more rolls you get at getting those, the more chests you have, and those come from chests at a flat rate. SPS is also based on R shares, but the relationship is completely different. With SPS in chest and SPS in battles, you gain that based on the percent of reward shares you earn relative to your league. Each league, Modern Silver, Wild Champion, each league has its own reward pool, and you split that SPS reward pool with everybody else in the league based on the percent of R shares that you earn. So if we talk about, okay, so it says here at goal 2, you want 36,500 SPS to continue getting your same level of R shares. If you have less SPS, you'll get fewer R shares. If you have more SPS, you'll get more reward shares. Because yes, you can go over this and get bonus R shares for having more SPS. It's on a scale, a non-linear scale. You get diminishing returns. So it's not like you get double the SPS, you get double the rewards. Every time you double your SPS, your rewards keep it. It doesn't work that way. The more you add, the less each amount of SPS is worth in terms of reward value. You can't just stick. Yeah, I've got 2 million SPS that I'm going to play down in silver so I can take all the rewards. It doesn't work that way. But anyways, so the point being that if you have the exact amount of staked SPS that we see here, that means you'll get the same amount of reward shares. That doesn't mean you're going to get the same amount of SPS that you're getting right now, because that is going to be relative to your league. A lot of people think, oh, this is way too high, and we're going to see our earnings decrease and whatever the case is. Well, if everybody in the league, everybody else in the league has 20,000 staked SPS. Now, obviously, people are going to have different amounts, but just hypothetical situation. If you have your 36,000 staked SPS and everybody else playing in gold has 20,000 SPS, the SPS that you earn is going to go way up. Because relative to everybody else in the league, you're going to be getting a lot more R shares, a lot more rewards. So we don't know how the SPS is going to change relative to the SPS earned is going to change relative to staked SPS until we see what everybody else in the league does. If these numbers are ridiculously high and everybody's staked SPS share is way under this, then that's okay. As long as you are at about average for your league, you'll keep earning the same rewards. If you go above average, even if you don't have the same amount, your SPS earned will increase. So everything is relative, and that means it's going to kind of scale too, and people are going to fight against each other. There is no way to predict how your SPS rewards are going to change based on the amount of staked SPS you have until we see what the league as a whole does, and that will evolve over time. And more SPS gets minted, so those might go up. So yes, you can look at the kind of how many reward cards or chests or any of those things you'll earn relative to what you are now based on the amount of staked SPS you have. If you want to earn reward cards faster than how you've been earning them, then you'll want to have more SPS than this. If you're more focused on the SPS rewards and you don't care as much about the reward cards, I mean, you can't really calculate that right now. You just can't calculate it. So a lot of people are panicking and saying, well, I'm not going to earn anything now because I'm a Silver 1 player and I've only got 5,000 SPS. And that's ridiculous that they're wanting me to go acquire 6,000 more to keep my same earnings. That's stupid. Well, maybe 5,000 staked SPS is actually going to see an increase in earnings for you. We really have no idea what the landscape is going to look like until we see this in play. All right. They calculated these based on looking at like the average staked SPS for players in this league. And they said they wanted to set these higher to encourage people to go out and get them. That's the whole point, right? We need to encourage people to go get SPS and want SPS. I talked about that before. This is the first time that we're really seeing people want SPS for gameplay reasons. Okay? But those numbers, those data points that they're using is based on a population that is playing the game not caring about SPS, right? We've had no reason to acquire it before. So yeah, maybe the data they're looking at for silver players is going to be very different than what it actually ends up being once there's an incentive to go out and get that SPS. Hopefully that makes sense. So again, we're seeing so many people that are upset over this change. I think it's largely just a misunderstanding. That's not saying you can't be upset even if you understand it perfectly, but hopefully now those that are upset at least understand the way it works and know more directly what to be upset over. So I see so many posts where this is ridiculous. I have to spend $2,000 in order to keep playing in my league that I've already bought cards for. It's not the case. You don't need to have it at all. You can go rent it. It's probably going to be cheap. And again, if it's not cheap, that's actually a good thing because it means SPS values will climb. And if SPS values climb, the value of cards climb, the value of everything in the game will climb with SPS. So anybody who is already in the system should be happy if it drives up the value of SPS because everything you already own is going to go up in value. So again, that's not saying that this is going to make everything go up in value. It's hard to say. We've been fighting against SPS inflation for a while now. This is going to push back against it. It absolutely is going to push back against it. Is it going to push back against it enough to raise the price? Is it just going to stop the bleeding? Is it still going to go down, but it's going to slow the bleeding? I mean, like I said, this is going to fight back against it, but we still don't know what scale exactly the power of the impact is going to be. So there's still a lot of unknowns here. We don't even know exactly when it's coming, but it's cool to have more details here. So I'm super excited. I've been saying we need SPS utility over and over and over again for the last 2 years. I made multiple videos on it. Is it going to work the right way? I don't know. Are these numbers going to be where we want them? I have no idea. If they're not, they'll probably make adjustments to them. So this is going to be a whole new era of ranked battles in Splinterlands. And I don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, but this is 100% the directions that we need to go. This is essentially what was in the white paper from the beginning. It's what we've expected, or I should have been expecting for quite some time. So I personally excited to finally see it arrive. We're gonna have to talk about this on the live stream. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll have one of those coming up here very, very soon. And we can go chat about it, answer some questions, play some battles. I haven't done a lot of live streams because we've had less energy to play with, right? Well, now Xbox is set up so we can go submit challenges against the Xbox bot. So even if I'm out of energy, I can go challenge Xbox and we can play practice matches, exhibition matches against some high quality competition. We know how good the Xbox bot is. So I'm excited to be able to live stream more. That is absolutely super exciting. I'll see you guys there.